congrats on the win. That's 3 wins in a row. How does this win compare to the road victory in Atlanta last week?
Oh, they're all the same, man. 3 points is incredible. Obviously, and I think the biggest takeaway from both games is one. Obviously, we're on the road. We're playing with a 2-goal lead to start the second half, and obviously we didn't have a lot of the ball, but the guys defended really well. This game, we're at home. I think we pushed it from minute one. That was a big objective, and the other part was really controlling the game with the ball, and I think we did a fantastic job of that. Created numerous opportunities, but it took a wonder strike from Stein to seal it off. But I think overall, both performances are fantastic, and the game of soccer will never give you the same game back to back or within a season, and you got to really navigate the moments. And I think with our group, the amount of time we spent on game management and managing moments has been really intentional, and the guys are executing at a really, really high level.
And then what did you see from Stein during training this week that made you trust him for that late game winner?
Well, I think, again, it's always a tough thing when bringing players into a group that's on a good run. Obviously, we brought Stein here because he's got some amazing qualities to help our group, and we definitely want to give him minutes. But it's really hard when the team's playing and they're in a good run of form. But again, I think that's what's special about our group is that everyone is selfless, everyone understands, everyone knows that it's a long season, and when called upon, the guys that came in the game did an exceptional job of changing the face of the game. Diego Luna, Stein, Victor, they did a really good job, and I think that's really, really important for this game, but also for a season, and to have the kind of quality and the belief that we have coming into games definitely, puts us in a great position moving forward.
Yeah, and then with Diego Luna and Victor returning from injury, how do you manage the good problem of roster depth overall?
Yeah, I think that's always like you said, it's a good problem, and one that I think it's more art than science. There's not a set way of doing it. It's more of a feel, and I think when you're in a good run of form, it buys you more time. You're not putting the players in positions where they'll extend themselves because we need them now. It allows us to kind of navigate these moments, and then it just becomes, I think matchups are really important, but continuity within the group and how the players play with their teammates will be a factor in that as well. So again, just really, really excited to get Stein some minutes, Diego back in with the group, Victor back in the group, and we'll see in the next week how we progress with those decisions.
Hey Pablo, congrats on the win again. Picking back with that, seems like this team has a little bit of magic this early in the season. You have returning players for injury, you have young stars making a name for themselves, you have debuts tonight. Do you feel like something special? You're building something special with this group this far?
That's what I feel. I think a lot of people watch the game with their eyes, and what I said to the guys is, I've been in this league for, it's like almost 30 years, and for me, I've been a part of some winning teams, and more than what you see on the field, it's a feeling in the locker room. It's a feel, right? And so when these young guys get their opportunities and they take it, because the experienced players support them, because they believe in the project. And then you have, experienced guys like Diego and Victor coming back into the team from injury, and the team doesn't miss a beat. That's what's special, and I think that's what will allow us to be a very good team in the difficult West. It's a dogfight every week, but when you have a group like this, there is a bit of magic to the group, and it's more about the character and the quality of the players that we have in the locker room.
Now we're going off of that with a 3-1 record right now on the road, winning 3 games, 1 loss. What do you feel the team identity is starting to look like through the first few matches?
I think that we're a dynamic team in the attack. I think our attacking transition was something that we wanted to be deliberate about this year, and the profile player, in particular, Juan Sanabria, Gozo as a wingback, and Morgan were really intentional to really improve that phase of our game. We've scored quite a few goals already this year, in transition. The other thing is we have a good blend for me of verticality, but also today you saw a group that can control the game with the ball, right, and be patient and look for moments to break teams down. And then I think defensively, there hasn't been one moment in any game where anyone's quit on a play. And when you have those three things, it's pretty much soccer. I mean, those are the three phases you have to be elite at. And you can talk about defending transition, which is what I'm saying is, guys, whether you're the 9 or the 10s, you get back and defend as a group and make it really difficult for teams. So when you have all those phases, the commitment in those phases, you become a pretty good team.
So stats will lose to the human spirit every day. That's something you've said in the past. And how have you been the shepherd to find your players' human spirit or inner man?
Yeah, no, I think this was a collective effort with front office and identifying areas that we wanted to improve upon on the field. But I think the biggest thing that everyone championed in the offseason was we want character people in the building. And when you have character people that are, and we're not talking about soccer here, we're not talking about the technique and the tactical understanding and good 1v1. We're not talking about any of that. And we were able to, and this is what makes me the most excited, is really just nail character and quality. And when you have that, you will overcome the stats. In moments where, and maybe in Atlanta we didn't win the stat game, but we won the soccer game because we have character people in the building.
Pablo,
Natty,
congratulations on the win.
thanks, man.
Can you tell us what you saw on their goal, another free kick goal?
Yeah, again, I think this just going into this game, Austin are a really good set piece team. And again, I think it happened our last home game against Seattle that we were able to, I think, nick off the line in the first half where they overload our back post, right? And so I think the onus, it's tough because Gozo is the back post guy. And what we need from that position is more communication to the rest of the line to scoot the line back and have more players in positions to win the first contact. So ideally you want to obviously defend the middle of the goal, but when most of their players are on the back, the back will be the middle in about 2 seconds after the ball is kicked. And so we just have to do a better job of communicating and organizing that on those plays, because teams will now, obviously, if we've given up 2 really big chances on a wide free kick. And so we just got to do a better job and continue to help Gozo along in that phase. He's doing a fantastic job, but it might be a little bit too much to put that on him. And we got to make sure that guys like Jay Glad and Hoffa are really pulling the rope on that part to make sure that we're organized in a way that puts us in the best position to win that first contact.
And then last one for me, this was kind of our first chance to see Morgan for a full 90 for those of us who were here. And one of the things that surprised me or pleasantly surprised me was his defensive work rate. Mm-hmm. Is that something that you've talked to him about, or is that just the players he comes out of the box?
That, again, I think he comes out of the box like that. And when we talk about character, it's really unique to have a player that makes such a difference on the attacking side of the ball, that's committed to work for the team as a high-profile player. That usually you come to MLS, and if you're a big-time attacker, that's all you do. But what we explained to him about our club is that everyone has to work for the team. And he just does an amazing job of combining, getting shots off. And Stuver had a great game tonight, pulled one off. He had one on with his head that he knocked off. But just his ability to influence the attack is so great for us. But then also the defensive part. And when you have guys of his stature and what he's been able to do in his career, do the dogged work defensively, everyone else gets in line and does the same type of work for each other.
Thank you.
DJ? There's one close by.
Can you talk about Caliscan popped up in a really unusual position to help create that first goal? Can you talk about what you've advised guys and the freedom you give guys, because the defensive midfielder, 3 steps from the end line 3?
Yeah, no. Again, I think Noel Caliscan is one of the most underrated midfielders in this league. For our team, he is not only the metronome with the ball, but defensively just really solid, great communicator. And that was he identified the moment. You know, one of the things that we talked about against teams that want to come in and sit deep is we have to consistently threaten the back line with runs. And you might not get it, but you're moving their whole back line towards the run. Well, then when we circulate the ball, there's going to be another run. And so this is a big aspect of our final third attack that we've been deliberate in. That was Noel Caliscan identifying the moment. It wasn't something that we say, Noel, we want you to get forward. No, but we want somebody to go forward. And so his level of soccer understanding continues to impress me. And that play, he conjured on his own.
You've told us you're not results-based several thousand times. Some of us are starting to believe that. So I'm curious how you judge the attack tonight. 2 goals is not an outstanding number. Given the quality of the saves Stuber turned in, were you happy with what the attack was generating, even though it's easy to say that after you score 4 goals?
Yeah, no, I was really happy. And I think, again, there's just going back to last year, I just felt like we were east to west, especially when teams were in a low block. And it's not what the game's meant to be. You go east to west to go north. And I think that's the difference with our group this year. And in order to go north, you need to have sacrificial runs behind the defense. Whereas last year everyone was trying to get on the ball. And so then and the games against Minnesota last year stand out where it was easy for them. But now we have selfless people. It goes back to the character shout. Guys that are willing to run for each other, whether it's Morgan, whether it's Diego Luna, whether it's Sanabria, whether it's Gozo, whether it's Aiden, whether it's Sergi, whether it's Victor. These guys are all running for each other. And what it just does is it opens up high-quality chances. And unfortunately tonight we ran into a goalkeeper that was standing on his head. So I think, in the first 4 games, the last 3 in particular, we've created some really, really good opportunities, and we'll continue to build on that. And that's an area that decides the results, along with our shape behind the ball. And Jay Glad was exceptional tonight. He's been huge in every game. And I think the ball he played in to sign for the assist was case in point. He played simple. He defended really well, and has been a stalwart in the back line.
You've had to play a lot of guys who most probably didn't have penciled in the starting 11, and you've talked about a lot of them. Could you talk about Philip Quinton and what you think he's done in these last 3 games where he's had to start them all and he's won them all, and it's back 3 and he's on an island at times?
Yeah, no, and he's done a really good job, and again, he's been tasked with really communicating with Gozo in a new position as well. So it's not just Philip Quinton playing his position, but really keeping a tight line and communicating to Gozo when he's release and when to hold him back. And so it hasn't been just as simple as Phil, go out there and do your job. He's been doing multiple jobs. And so this is reminiscent of 2024 when we got Phil from Columbus. He stepped in, did a fantastic job, and was one of the more important center backs in our group to end that season. And obviously last year was a bit up and down. We've had quite a few conversations, and the thing is, you just have to be ready when your name is called. And I'd say Philip Quinton has risen to the challenge, done an exceptional job. I think he's got 2 assists on the season as well with Gozo, linking up with Goz, and so that tandem seems to be working really well.
And then we got to see Diego and Victor take the field for the first time this season. Was there a cap to their limits that the training staff was giving them for going into this game?
Well, yeah, I mean there was, and if you ask Diego Luna, he'd probably be capped at like 75. And the truth is, Luna trained essentially 2 times last week, after 3 or 4 weeks of not being in the group. But he's a gamer, right? And so 2 things. One, this is a really, really important year for Diego and for us, and we want to make sure we bring him along in a way we're not throwing him out and straining his ability to open up, right? So, he was limited on Tuesday. He trained full Wednesday. Thursday's light. Friday's lighter than light. And so he really had 1 training day this week. And so I think moving forward, we'll see how he does. But both of those guys were kind of capped at like 20 minutes, and again, I think from a physical perspective, they did a really good job. And the fact that we were able to win the game, they came in and debuted for the season, and didn't get hurt was really high level from our performance staff and coaching staff.
And seeing them take the field with Morgan Dialogi and with Gozo and with Sanabria for the first time, seeing that matchup, what stood out to you from your perspective as head coach in their performance tonight?
Yeah, well, I think Victor's a handful up front, and he's always threatening the back line, and I think when you have that, I think Sergi played a really good game as well. But now when they see Victor coming in, if I was them, I'd be really nervous. And then you bring in Diego Luna, who is exceptional between the lines, and his combination play is great with Morgan. And so the last time we saw that group was our last preseason game against LA Galaxy, and I was giddy after that game because it is vertical, it is powerful, it is quality, combination play. I mean, you get a little bit of everything with that front five. So again, these are early days for those two guys, but I think once the group gets settled in, we're not only going to have a really, really powerful attack, but we also have guys that can come in where the level won't drop, which is something we haven't had in a long time.
And then with a very deep roster, as we've talked about a lot, is there anybody in particular who's given you a bit of a selection headache?
I'd say all of them, all of them, and that's why I keep going back to the character piece, because if this is about you, then it becomes more difficult for us. But everyone understands, like, if you're playing well, you'll keep playing, and if I have to make some decisions, I know that the guys who were playing that maybe aren't starting will come in and do great for the team. And so, like I said earlier, this is the most selfless group with the most quality that I've been a part of.
Let's go to Trevor and wrap it up.
Hey, Pablo, just one question for you. We're 4 games in, it's still early, but we haven't had a clean sheet yet this season. But with 3 wins, is that, how high on the priority list, I guess, is it clean up the defense?
Yeah, again, I think you go back to the Seattle game, and that was a set piece. Tonight was a set piece. I think in the run of play, we've actually been pretty solid. The Atlanta game, obviously, the 2 goals that we conceded there were in the run of play. So I think here's the good thing is that one phase of the game is really, really good, and that's our attack and finding ways to score goals. There's always going to be something to work on. It's never going to be perfect, and that's why we spend so much time with managing games, right? So Vancouver, we were down, we went man-to-man, created a couple opportunities at the end. These other games, the last 2 games, we had leads, and we had to learn as a team to manage them, because it's not always going to be perfect, right? And so we got to control what we can. And I think in this game, we were down 1 and kept our foot on it, and then we went up 1, and the guys just saw the last 5 minutes out in a really, really good way. So when things aren't going to be as clean as far as shutouts or goal scoring, we've got to be elite at managing games depending on the game state.
Thanks, Pablo.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.